In this episode, we're going to tell you the gear that you need to start an audio podcast.
In 2024.
Oh, dang it. Dang it. I knew I was forgetting
That's
something.
it. That's it. We're using that one.
I'm walking the streets of nowhere. I'm playing the game with no regrets. I'm crawling out from the gutters. Cloud and the Joker's all you guess.
Mallett, we're here. We're doing it again. I feel like I
doing
haven't
it.
seen you in a long time.
It's been...
Man, just miss you so
Crazy.
much. You know,
know.
we just don't talk enough.
We don't.
I'm glad that we changed shirts in between these two episodes so that I could totally throw that out the gate and say that we're doing two back to back. But you know,
Absolutely.
for this, just to give you a little bit of to make you a little bit more happy, can you show the audience what's on your shirt today?
Oh, yes.
It's
I
worth
mainly put this on to get a reaction out of Zach, but I didn't come into frame. Anyway,
Yeah, cream of the crop. Okay, this is pretty bad.
the cream of the crop.
Gotta be careful what you say into a microphone when you're recording a podcast. All right, look, segue.
Right?
So, you know, Dustin, at the beginning of this podcast or show, or I don't know what we're calling it anymore because we're YouTube only and all this other stuff. But one of the first things we said is don't listen to us. We're not experts.
Yep.
This applies still. We're absolutely not experts. We're not putting stuff on, Sirius XM. We're not, we don't work for the biggest podcasters in the world. But between the both of us, we've done a lot of podcasts, and we've done a lot of podcasts on varying levels of budgets. And so I thought, we thought, what better way to share that knowledge than to do a little list here of 3 different tiers as far as price range of equipment that you could get if you're interested in starting your very own podcast in 2024. So we're gonna talk about gear in just a second, but first off, I mean, you and I, the way that we kind of work with stuff and the way this whole creative thing worked between us. Obviously, we've been friends forever. Before the audio visual video thing was a thing, but I've always been the audio guy, and you've always been the video guy. We are converging those roles right now. We're kind of both doing both, and I think we're both getting better because of it. But I'm going to start off with a little tangent on audio, and we're going to do a video version of this later on. We're going to talk about what you can buy from video. Dustin will do his tangent.
Yep.
Okay. So the most important thing to consider when you're recording audio is that it is much easier to get it right at the beginning than the end. And what I mean by that is source audio. So wherever you're at, how far away the microphone is, that's the most important thing. And so you can take this, which is not the most expensive microphone in the world, but it's, an SM7B. You can take this and you can spend $400 on it, and you can not know how to use it, and you can put it in a construction site, and it's going to sound terrible. So as we're talking about this list, and we won't even get up to this level, just consider that the most important thing is that you find a nice, semi-quiet place to record. Part of that is, a room that has some stuff on the walls, that has a little bit of breakup. And then if you have a room that's just empty and that's the room that you want to record in, you can go on Amazon and get some cheap kind of foam stuff and put it up. That's not included in here, but generally the rule of thumb is if you're recording audio, listen to yourself in any way you can. And if it sounds good while you're recording it, most likely it's going to sound good at the end of everything too. So that's my big spiel.
I agree. And like the same could be said for video, but like you said, we won't go into it. Like it's the closer you get it to a finished product on the front end, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree with that one.
And the last thing that I'll say on that is that you can always turn your audio up after the fact. And one day we will go into like kind of audio tips and tricks and stuff, and we'll show you our tools of the trade. But it's always better to have your audio lower when you're recording and then turn it up after the fact than have it too loud and have it clip. Because unless you have a expensive audio suite with a declipper, you're not going to be able to fix that after the fact. So, get it to a reasonable level. Make sure that you don't sound crackly, which is what clicking sounds like, and get it right at the source. And pretty much anything you get is going to sound pretty decent. With that, let's start on our first tier. And our first tier, I don't know if Dustin's going to make this more produced, and maybe he'll just put like a big free. There you go.
Free.
Our first tier is free. And what we mean by free is using the stuff that you have at the house. This is actually, I wasn't going to include a free tier, so I'm going to let Dustin take it away.
So I've had several people come up to me and say, "Hey man, I want to start a podcast. What do I need?" And I'm like, well, what do you want to do it on? Cool. That doesn't really pertain to what equipment you're going to need. 2, have you ever done it before? Have you ever sat in front of a microphone and then tried to talk into it for an extended period of time? 3, are you going to want to edit that? If you don't know, well, you might want to grab your handy dandy phone here and just put it on a table, and still keep in mind all those things that Zach just stated, right? But this is solely to get a feel to see if you are comfortable with talking, with having basically a conversation with yourself. If it's a solo pod, if it's a pod like this, 2 people talking, that's a bit easier because you're having a conversation. And then try and edit that. Try and maybe condense it down, maybe watch some YouTube tutorials on how to edit audio, and get a feel for it. But the main thing is use what you got. You got a laptop, there's a microphone on the laptop. If you have a newer laptop, it's much better. Older laptops, your audio quality is going to suffer. Right. But that's just where we're solely just getting a feel for if you are comfortable talking into a microphone and comfortable editing on the back end. Not even doing effects, not even like fixing the audio at that point. It's cutting out the dead space, cutting out the the clicks, the whatever. Like you go, oh, I didn't really like that part. That had nothing to do with what the subject was. Take it out, cut it, boom. And make it clean, make it cohesive all the way through.
Right. And so good points all around there. I think the biggest barrier to entry for folks that want to do podcasts, that have ideas to do podcasts, oftentimes actually isn't the money, oftentimes isn't the equipment or lack thereof. It's the going out and doing it. That's why we say, at the end of the podcast, a lot of the times I say we did the dang thing, is because that's kind of the hardest part sometimes.
It is so hard.
I can edit audio all day, every day. It's way easier than doing this. And not because this is inherently hard. Like, we're not amazing at this. It's just hard to put yourself out there and sit down.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's so scary.
It's scary. It is so scary. I've seen several videos here recently that have basically stated that it's getting over the fear of putting content out, having that. Kind of like how we mentioned in the first episode, like your imposter syndrome. Like, is this going to be good enough for someone to watch or listen to? That's a huge, huge factor. Once you get past that, you're solid.
So the free tier, to kind of wrap the free tier up, the free tier is, I would suggest kind of being the audio guy. If you have a newer phone, use your phone instead of your computer. And the only reason I say that is you have control with how close and how far it is, right? So you just kind of hold the phone up like this, record your pod.
Those headphones.
Have headphones too. You can use them.
The Apple headphones, the wired, I've seen people use those, or you have AirPods. Those work great.
Almost every single computer nowadays has a free editing software. So if you have a Mac, you're going to have GarageBand on there for free. GarageBand is an incredibly powerful editing tool. If you have a PC, I'm not sure what they have, but you can
Audacity is still a thing.
Yeah, you can download Audacity online. That's actually the first editing software I ever used when I was in high school. And so there are free softwares out there. And the main thing that you're going to want to focus on when you're opening up your editing is just cutting and moving things. I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you to compress. I don't want you to worry about any of that other stuff. It's going to sound good enough. Content is always going to trump quality, at least at the beginning. Get comfortable, do the free stuff. Don't spend your money. And
Get a feel.
Get a feel out there. There's also like free hosting software too. That you just look
There's a
that up
ton of it.
online. We're not going to throw that out there, but yeah. So that's how you do it for free.
Do you find yourself craving something sweet, cold, and made of the softest snow you've ever seen in your life? Well, you're in luck, because us here on Deaton Street know of the best place to go. Snowbees Express, located in Jennings, Louisiana, is the #1 spot to stop for all of your snow cone, soft serve ice cream, and soda on shaved ice needs. They're open year-round because here in Louisiana, we sometimes only get 1 week of cold winter days per year. So come on down to the Red Train Caboose. Yes, you heard that right, a literal caboose, located in Jennings, Louisiana, 420 Roberts Avenue. Currently, they're open 1 to 5, Monday through Saturday. You can find them on Facebook as well to book a party. Just search Snowbees Express and reach out. That's SNOB' Express.
You know, what if, say, you know, your son or your daughter, maybe a friend of yours, really wants to start a podcast in 2024, and you want to buy him a nice little Christmas gift, right? Let's say $100. Dustin, where are we at with the $100 tier? What would you suggest?
The $100 tier, you would not be the $100 tier. You would want to seek a USB microphone, something very easy, something very easy to plug into your computer. You don't have to have too many extra bells and whistles. You have one mic and it plugs into a USB port. Exactly. I do not know where mine is, but I have a silver version of that one. That is the Blue Yeti. How much is that going for right now, Zach?
So we looked it up right before we started the pod. Right now at Best Buy, they're on sale for $89.99.
Yep. I think I got mine whenever they were pretty early on in their production. So I was like a little over $100. But Blue Yeti, great stuff. There are several other just $100 microphones that are USB. I think, and I should have looked. I think there's a Samsung
There's
microphone.
Rode. We believe in
The
Rode on this
Rode.
pod. And
There's
so
a bunch of them.
to jump in, I mean, the really big thing with these is that it's a microphone, but it's also, in a way, it's an audio interface, which
Yes.
if you're new, you're not really going to know what that means, or you don't really know what that means. But essentially, an audio interface is how you, it's like the connection device between a microphone and your computer. And so this acts as both. So it's a microphone and it's an audio interface. Even has some gain controls on here, and this is going to be for all of them. And a nice little headphone jack that you can plug in your headphones.
You can monitor your
and
audio.
You'll be able to hear your audio. And so these are great. This is a little step up from a phone. You're going to be able to hear yourself as well. Oh, go ahead.
As I say, the Blue Yeti has different mic settings as well. So if you had two people, I used the Blue Yeti on the front end of my channel whenever we started. Me and Dylan had a Blue Yeti in the middle of the room, and I put it on the I don't know the technical term for it, but it's basically to like have a two-person on each side of the microphone to pick it up.
It's a figure eight pattern.
Yes. And we were able to record, sitting across from each other and playing games. I mean, the Yeti is very versatile.
Yeah. So that's a great point. So if you are going to get a Blue Yeti, again, they're affordable. I won't say they're cheap because $90, but they're affordable. They're really good quality. Again, the room's going to matter more than your microphone at this point for sure. And it kind of always will. But let's go ahead and go over, just for folks that might go and buy a Blue Yeti. we'll go over real quick what these microphone patterns mean for you and what you want to use for each application. And so the main thing with these microphone patterns is that you get a nice little diagram, and that's exactly what the microphone is doing. So what I have it on here is the figure 8 pattern. And so if you imagine the microphone as being in the middle of that figure 8, that those two circles are where it is getting its audio from. So it's getting audio from behind and in front of the microphone. This right here is your typical pattern, and that is just right in front of the microphone. So if you have one person, it's going to get it right in front, and it's going to be towards your blue symbol.
Now, demonstrate that, because I see a ton of people using a Blue Yeti wrong.
Right.
They speak into it from the top. Is not how you talk into a Blue Yeti.
Right. Yeah. So So we're getting real deep here.
Yeah.
Every microphone has some type of condenser cardioid.
It's like a solenoid or whatever.
Yeah. It basically has something that is coin sized, and that's how it receives audio. So the direction of that little, if you imagine like a little quarter in it, is very important for the SM7B. The direction is pointing up this way. Same for the pod mic that he has there. This one, because it has front and back, it's actually straight up and down. Okay. And so when you're using this, you want to have it facing you like this, right? So
Not like you would be holding a microphone.
not like this,
Yep.
but like this, up and down. I would say, because we can't tell you how to do that for every single microphone.
Yes.
I would say plug in a pair of headphones, move that mic around, and you're going to figure out what the sweet spot is. Yeah.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
that's the main thing, right? It's at this level, at any level, listen to what you're doing and figure out if it's what you want to
Experiment.
what you want.
Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of just a circle around the mic, right? So it's, if you imagine the mic in the middle of the circle, that means that it's
Capturing
also
everything.
grabbing things from the out, like all the way outsides. You're not going to use that a lot unless you're capturing environmental things.
Yep.
And then this is kind of like a closer figure 8 pattern. Okay. Most of the time, if you got one person, you'd be right here, because you don't want to grab any more audio than you want to grab. So this one right here is actually not getting any sound from the back, which means that the reflection off the wall or echo, things like that, it's going to be taken care of by using that. So that's $100. Let's say you got rich pockets, or let's say you have a Blue Yeti and you're looking to make that next leap. So me and Dustin talked beforehand, and we said $300 is a pretty good investment.
Yeah.
Right. But it also happens to be the exact setup that our guy D Mallett is using right now. So again, I'm going to hand it to him for this quick go through, and then I'll explain it afterwards.
So
what you got?
Essentially what I am using is a Rode pod mic, right? It's a little small deal. And notice I'm going to talk into the side of it. It ain't how it works. You talking to the top of it, right?
That's a good demonstration. That's what we want you to do. Get the mic and then talk like that.
Around,
And then,
I'm
not
going to
good.
do all this other stuff. It sounds terrible if I talk into this side of it.
yeah, that's not the right
awful.
side. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on an arm. I have an XLR cable. It's not a USB. I need to plug that into something, because your computer does not have XLR, right? This is where that interface that we talked about comes in. And I have, let's see if I can, because I am my setup right now is super.
I have an extra one, and you want me to go
makeshift.
grab it.
It's right here.
There you go.
Da, da, da. It's a Focusrite 2i2. That's what I am using. Notice I have an XLR cable, an XLR and you have your volume knobs for each of the mics. If I had headphones plugged in here, I can do that. If I had external monitors, I can adjust. So there's a few knobs and bells and whistles on it. If you're getting into this area, you're probably watching YouTube video tutorials on how all this stuff works. My microphone, as well as Zach's, is a bit gain hungry. And what we mean by that is it is a lower sounding microphone. So I had to get an external thing, an adapter, to boost that gain, to boost that audio just a tad. I have a little, it's called a FET head, and you plug your mic into that, into the interface, or, you know, it goes into the back of the mic, into the XLR, into the interface, computer, blah, blah, blah. I think, Zach, you use Cloud Lifter, or
Yep.
you have used them in the past.
Yep. I use one right now. Yep.
Another brand, both great, but that's all it is. I mean, it's just the mic and the Focusrite. Now, I have used a few other audio interfaces in the meantime. They have failed on me. Zach probably remembers one of them that, like, we were trying to play a D&D session or whatever, and it just would not work. I was so mad.
Yeah. No
I
names,
broke
no
down.
names. We don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I broke down and I was like, all right, you've been talking mad game about the Focusrite, buying one. Boom.
Yeah.
Great stuff. It has lasted me several years, you know. So I mean, that's in that $300 price range.
Yeah.
The mic is like $100.
We're recommending
and
the Focusrite Solo. And
The
so
Solo.
that's around 120.
That's a one channel.
You can probably get them on the used market for like $99, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the FET head. It helps. But
helps.
The
You don't
Focusrite
have to have
has
it.
quite a bit of clean gain, and you can also
Yeah.
push the gain in your in the audio workspace afterwards.
Yep.
I would say the main thing with this setup that I like so much is that on that Focusrite, if you'll pull it back up for me, if you can get it in frame,
I can.
that thing about making sure that we don't clip, making sure that the audio is at a good level, it's going to tell you it's going to do that for you. So
that
when Dustin
right there?
talks,
Now I'll watch your ears, because I'll just like do like a pop or something.
Yeah.
It's gonna go red.
there you go.
Boom. See it?
So, and we'll turn that down in post.
Yes,
so,
I will.
But you'll hear it clip, right? And so
will.
it's going to go green, orange, red, and it's going to kind of tell you, where you're at if you're about to clip. You just want to keep it in the green the whole time that you're talking. And so these are nice. They work, and I'm confident in the customer service. And what I mean by that is I have blown the one of these channels on my Focusrite before, and I sent it back. It was past the warranty. I sent it back. They reminded me it was past the warranty. I asked them nicely again to fix it, and they fixed it for free.
Yeah.
I paid postage. So these are just great entry level audio interfaces, and I'm sure there are many other companies that do it just as well, but this is the one that I've used for years. I have two of them. When Our Get Bent is using that exact setup as well.
Yep.
It's just good. It's just going to work.
Good stuff.
And so
I love mine.
with that, as you get to that level, you also really want to start focusing in on content, because you don't want to spend $300 on this stuff, or in this case with tax, $350, maybe $400 if you're getting the FET head as well. And just have nothing to talk about. And I kind of say that as someone who did that. I'm an audio head. I'm a kind of a gear head. And I bought a bunch of stuff and I didn't use it for a number of years. And that didn't feel good. The stuff isn't going to use itself. So no matter what you do, I kind of almost, if I could go back, I would have proven it to myself on an iPhone. I would have rewarded that with a Yeti. And then I would have made the jump to the Focusrite. I have a ridiculous setup.
Yeah, yours is impressive.
And it sounds just as good as Dustin's, if I'm being honest. They sound the same.
Yeah, it's very close.
I have a cloud lifter into SM7B, into an Apollo Solo, which is my interface, which does a lot, and it's great. I do music stuff as well, which is why I have some of this stuff. But the point being is that there is a law of diminishing returns with audio, and it especially gets that way after you jump past the $300 level. After you jump past Dustin's setup, the more money you spend, the less quality you get in return. So
Yep. I do one more quick point. If you're one thing to consider when you're getting just gear in general, versatility is a big thing. The Focusrite, like you said, you're doing music as well, right?
Right.
The Focusrite you can plug up a guitar to
Oh, yeah.
and record as well. It's got the correct jack for it.
Mhm.
So that's something else to keep in mind whenever you're looking for this equipment. Is it going to be versatile? Can I utilize it for something else if I needed to, or am I interested in doing music? Am I interested in doing some sort of video content? Can I use it for this or that? That's one thing that I look at
Mhm.
whenever I find gear. How many different use cases can I use something for? Just a little nugget.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, with that, I think we've kind of covered all three tiers. The free tier, iPhone, $100, get yourself a Blue Yeti or something along the lines of that. And then for $300, we highly, highly recommend Dustin's setup, which is a Rode pod mic into a Focusrite Solo. We're going to say Solo. He has a 2i2. Same thing.
This
just
is solo.
less money.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then as you get better, look into different audio workstations, software, but that's on down the road. You don't have to worry about that. Start doing your pod now.
Yep. You just got to do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
All right, man. Well, I love you. And we just
love you
did
too.
a 30-minute pod.
Oh, we said we were never going to get to it.
That's incredible.
But we did.
We just last week we were saying just how hard it. Oh man.
The Deaton Street boys. They don't trust me. The editor. You want a podcast below 30 minutes? Well, by my calculations, you got a podcast below 30 minutes. All that junk that Dustin spouts off, he thinks he knows what he's talking about, we cut that out. Anytime Zach wants to talk about having Reese's and pronouncing it incorrectly, Reese's. Cut it out. I'm here to make sure y'all don't look like a bunch of dummies. You're welcome.
3007, 38, 3009. Love you.
I'm going to go cry.
Peace.
I'm walking the streets of nowhere. I'm playing the game.